Today on Dave's Life Tips, we are going to coat and clean a couple old three-wheeler gas tanks. So, the project here is an 86 200X, and this is a 84 70. So these are the tanks we got. This is the 200X tank, and this is the 70 tank. They're both metal. So these are the ingredients that we're going to use today: muriatic acid, acetone, water, red coat, which is awesome tank liner stuff, and down there I've got some baking soda mixed in water, and I'll be getting a lot more of that on hand here. But this muriatic acid is real nasty stuff, so I just need to wear gloves and protection whenever messing with it, and of course dispose of it properly. Alright, so here's going to be the before shot. You can see how rusty the inside of this tank is. Real rusty. Same for the 70 tank. It's not quite as bad, but it's still pretty bad. So our goal here is to take these old tanks, which are practically antiques, and restore the inside of them back to where we can get a lot more good years out of them and actually use them. Okay, I'm going to do this 200X tank first. It's hard to do two at one time, especially while recording. So there's a drain right there. I stopped it up with duct tape. And the first step here is going to be putting a mixture of muriatic acid and water in it, about 50-50. I'm going to have a total volume of fluid in there, probably about 1.5 gallons, 2 gallons. I'm going to shake it for about 2 or 3 minutes with the cap on. Now I'm going to drain it into a sealed container, and then we're immediately going to put baking soda water in this tank to help neutralize the metal on the inside. We're going to have to do that several times with more baking soda and more water until this tank quits fizzing when the baking soda hits it. Now, a little bit of this is going to get on the outside of the tank. There's no way of avoiding it. And care needs to be taken to get that muriatic acid and water off as soon as possible, because it will eat through anything, especially that paint there. Alright, I'm ready to put the muriatic acid and water in the tank now. I'll explain the rest of the steps after, but everything kind of has to happen fast, so I'm not going to take a break in between. So I'll see you on the other side. Alright, the tank's sitting. I'm going to sit for a little while. I got about a 20% mixture of muriatic acid in there to water. It's all the way full. It's really, really rusty and having trouble getting it out. So it's going to sit for about 10 or 15 minutes probably. So in the meantime, a little tidbit here I thought was amusing. Got this motor and that bike from a guy who said the timing chain, which is over here on this side, right in there. Of course, it's not hooked up now because there's no camshaft. But he said that the timing chain wasn't right. Kept getting stuck when he was trying to turn the motor over by hand. Didn't know what was wrong. That's why I got out of this project. Well, I pulled the cylinder head cover off, and I found these 2 bolts in here, sitting just like they are right now. And of course, the camshaft was resting here. Well, there's supposed to be a camshaft bearing retainer here. It's a clamp. Looks kind of like this piece here, but it's opposite. And it sandwiches the bearing there that holds the camshaft. The head has one built in on this side. But he was missing that part. So when the cam sprocket over here was getting pulled on, when he turned the motor over, this was coming up, and it was binding right here. And the sprocket was, of course, getting an angle to the chain. So, fortunately, or hopefully, the motor wasn't run like that. It doesn't appear it was. I've been through it. Looks pretty good. So, just waiting on a couple parts now to get her back together and see if she'll start. All right, here we are after about 8 minutes of waiting. as you can see, this fluid is really nasty. It's got a lot of rust in it. And you can see kind of the edge here around below where the cap goes. It's already cleaning up real good. So it's hard to tell what it looks like under the water. It's so full that I can't see the bottom of the tank without pouring it out. So I'm going to let it sit for a little bit longer. And I'll check it again shortly. That is a great horned sheep. Alright, while we're waiting, I thought we'd take a look at another beauty over here. This is a 1985 ATC 70. And those of you in the know might recognize a electric start 125M motor in that. Oh yes. Oh yes. Yeah. First glance, you might not have noticed the switches there. One of those is for the turbo. The other one's for the nitrous. Pretty much just use this baby as a sleeper for drag racing. If I had $1 every time I rolled up on an unsuspecting ATC 350X and waxed them, I'd have enough money to buy about 4 dozen moon pies. This tank is being a bitch. Shit's not cutting it. Alright guys, we ran into a problem. There's so much rust on the bottom of this tank that when the acid ate the rust, created some holes. If you look in there, you can see a few holes there. There's some down in the bottom there you can see. So it's going to require welding because the liner is only going to seal pinholes. So I'm going to go weld these holes best I can and then line it. Guys, I forgot to mention one important safety hazard. So the steps in the process of getting this tank cleaned and lined is the muriatic acid and water mixture. Once that's dumped and the tank's clean, it has to be neutralized with water and baking soda until it quits fizzing. Then immediately after, it has to be rinsed with acetone. That's going to dry and clean the tank super fast in preparation for the red coat liner. So if that step were to be skipped, the tank would still be wet with water and it would start to flash rust almost immediately after the removal of the baking soda and water. So the problem I'm at now is the acetone is extremely flammable, even the vapors. So ideally I would want to rinse the tank with water to get all the acetone out before welding, but if I do that, the tank's going to flash rust and it won't be ready for the red coat. But I'm not going to put any more acid in the tank because of the holes that have already started to develop. So I let the tank air out for a little while. I'm going to go do a little welding, and sometimes you just got to risk it to get the biscuit. This is the stuff we're going to be sealing the tank with. It's really good. Says on it it's resistant to alcohol, all fuel, and it says it'll seal a hole up to 1/32 of an inch. So, alright, so it's been a few days. I let the tank air out with the lid off after coating it, and then I painted the tank white. The damnedest thing happened. I don't know, I've never seen anything like this in my life. The tank was lined and cured, then I painted it. Well, you can see these red specks on it, where I don't know what's going on here. My best guess is there were some rust spots here I didn't see, and somehow, even though there was rust there, the liner got through the rust and somehow got through the paint 4 coats. Realistically, it could, because the red coat, I believe, is mixed and dissolved in acetone, so there's a little acetone in it. But I cannot believe it got through the rust and got through the paint. And I don't even know if this tank's going to seal anymore. So I'm going to have to test it out and come back and try it later. This whole damn project was a waste of time. The liner, dryer, to make sure. 3-day cure time. 3-day cure time. Acetone, 2 ounces. Alright guys, I put on my thinking cap, literally, a few minutes ago, and I thought I had it figured out. I thought that maybe the red coat had not cured, and when I put gas in it to test it for holes, which it didn't leak by the way, that the red coat stopped curing early, and the gas liquefied it, and it started to leak through the holes when I flipped the tank upside down. But, looked in there, see that fuel in there. Well, it's hard to tell now, but it's perfectly clean and clear. So, I mean, it's been sitting for 3 days, so obviously it would have a red tint to it if the red coat had not cured fully. So, I don't know what happened. I mean, if there are any chemists out there who want to help me out here and just, you know, shoot me an email, text, Tinder, Bumble, you know, whatever, let me know. I don't know what happened. But hey, you know what? That 70 tank worked like a charm. Wasn't rusted up. It's lined. That thing even runs right now. So, 50-50, you know, 1 out of 2. I'd say that's, you know, batting 500. That's really good. So, all right, I'll get at you next time for another life tip video.